Okay, hello you all. I'm finally ready to give you assignments to modify homeworks. So without any further ado, let's get started. So the first thing you need to do is to get into our spring 2020 Fin 301 EF section. For the spring, I've merged the sections and I will try and add you both Dee and Yuri very soon, like sometime today. So you get into the course itself, and then you go to assignments. And what I'd like you to do is starting with homework two and working pretty much in order, I'd like you to update the numerical problems, only the numerical problems, and with simple changes like changing the names of companies and changing numbers. So let's do an example of that. So let's say I'm ready to start and I'm starting with homework 02. So I open that up, I say edit, and I want to go right to questions. Whoops, no, I don't. The first thing I want to do is right here after homework 2, I want to change the title. So this is very important so we know where we are. I'm going to put in prog for in progress, and I'm going to pretend I'm D. So I'm going to say DL there, and I leave everything else the same. And we do that so we know right now, if anyone else looks at this, that D is editing this, and in prog means he hasn't finished yet. And when D has completed this entire thing, then he changes this to finished. So that way we have a very good record of exactly where we are with the editing and the updating for this semester. So I'm going to go back and put in prog there right now. Okay, because this is clearly going to be in progress. And after making that change, I do jump right into questions. So what I want to do is I want to look at each question and say, is it a numerical question? No for question 1, no for question 2, no for question 3, no for question 4, and question 5 here is clearly a numerical question. So I'll say I want to edit that, and I'd like you to do this in a very particular way. I don't want to just change the information in Canvas, but I want to have an Excel version of every question as it's in Canvas for us. So I'll show you how this works. I'm going to send you both a template spreadsheet like this, where you're going to list your questions here and the details of the questions, including the solutions over here, and don't go out past column J. I'll show you more of that as we go on. So what I want to do with this, it just says A company's stock, so I'm not going to change the name. If you wanted to, you could say small company stock or Tesla's stock or something like that. That would be fine. But because this is generic, I'm not even going to do that. So I'm going to take all the problem wording and I just copied it with Control C, okay? And this is problem number 5, question 5. So I'm not going to change that. So I'm going to put a 5 in here, okay? And I want to have room for all the text. So I'm going to take this portion of this row and I'm going to merge these cells, okay? And then I'm going to use now Control V to just dump that question in there. The data you're pasting is the same size selection. Do you want to paste it anyway? Yes. can't do that to a merged cell. I don't know what's wrong. So let me go back and try again here. That should just dump right in. So I'll say Control C here, and I'll say Control V here. Yeah, I don't know what went wrong, but anyway, there we go. So now I still got a little formatting to do. Formatting is very important to me, okay? Um, so what I need to do here in this cell is in alignment, I want to say for all of these descriptions starting at the top, and I also want to say wrap text. So I'm going to come down here and say wrap text. I also want this to be left justified, so I do that. And now it's looking pretty good, except of course I want to make sure I have all the text there. So that's good. So this is question 5. The 5 should be at the top, not at the bottom. So you want to make sure this is formatted like this with the top, same as this cell with the top, and you see it's left justified here. Okay, so that's all good. And now I want to make some changes. So, like I say, you could, if you wanted to, with something like this, we could say Teslas. Or do we really want to say Teslas? We could say Facebook, something like that. Book stock. So you self-sort 1,000. Tomorrow you close this trade when the stock is worth 1,600. So I'm just going to change this one number. Keep it simple for the students, nice round numbers. You could also change the 1,000 if you wanted to. I'm going to keep the close the trade price higher than the start the trade price so that they do have a loss on this trade, a negative gain on this trade, and because that's a little more confusing for them, and I want them to understand how this works. So here I put a solution, okay, and down here I'm going to put event and give myself a little room and put cash flow here. Okay, so the first event is going to be sell short 1,000. Okay, and the cash flow to the trader is going to be 1,000. And I think I'd like to put a description in there so the students really know what's going on. Borrow, sell, 1 share. Okay, so they understand that. And then the next event is going to be close the trade. And you may have different wording for this, and that's fine. I'm just writing this out in the way that I would like to see it here, the way I would do it myself. If you do it a little differently, no problem. And the key thing is to have a good record of what we've done with this problem over here in Excel for each problem. So close the trade, I've changed that to 1,400. So to go out there and buy a share is going to cost 1,400. Okay, and then of course you want to return the borrowed share. So I'm gonna again describe that here. So buy, return 1 share. Okay, and down here I'll put net cash flow. And I do want to make this numerical, okay? So if we change it later, it's going to work. So I'm not just going to put minus 400 in here. I'm going to say equal sum of this. Okay, so we want all of our stuff in Excel to be done with appropriate formulas So if later one of us wants to change that to 800, the answer is going to change automatically. Okay, so that's looking pretty good right now. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to get my entire solution here, and I'm hitting Control C to copy it. And what I want you to do with all of these is take our entire solutions and put them into, you see how it says general comments down there? Put them into the general comments, not this one, not wrong answer, not correct answer, but general comments. So we're going to click on that, okay? And then I'm just going to do Control V to paste that in. And that's going to look pretty crappy, so I'm just going to make it look better. Again, formatting is extremely important to me. See, this is very confusing and hard to read, so I'm going to come along and do this, and let's look at it now. And that's much easier to read, right? And that's going to even look better for the students when they're taking it. Another thing we could do with this is we could say table, oops, let's see, here we go. All right, table, let's delete the table. I could have pasted everything in using Control Shift V. Um, and that's going to bring it in just as ANSI text rather than as a portion of a spreadsheet. So if I were doing it this way, which would, whoops, also be fine, I'd just manually line things up, make them look a little better. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be pretty good. And I could leave it something like that, and you'll see that's going to look very good for the students also. So I want everything here, and this is going to be after they've submitted this question, after they've submitted their homework, they're going to see this comment, but not until they've submitted the homework assignment. Even if they have multiple tries, they won't see the answer until they have submitted the assignment. So now I got to go back up here, and I could paste this back in here. I think I'll do that. So I do Control C, and now I'm definitely going to use the Control Shift V because I don't want to put in, I don't want to do this, right? I don't want that to go in as a big spreadsheet cell. So I'm gonna delete that and use Control Shift V and go in, drop that in like that. So that's got my Facebook now, and that's got my 1400. And now I just have to go down and make sure I've corrected the answers, which is very important. And you could see what I was doing before. The obvious wrong answers are going to be something to do with 600 or 1600. So I'm just going to change that all to 400. So the correct answer now is, of course, minus 400. That would be the loss on this trade. And I'm just going to change all these to this. Okay. And I think that's pretty good. Um, and do I have any mistakes here? You guys know I make mistakes. I might, but I don't think so. So I'm going to say update question. And I'm going to say this is very important or your changes won't be saved. Okay. Now I'm back out to this list of questions. And let's say it's time for lunch, so I'm not going to finish this right now. I'm going to say save. Okay, and then for now, we all know when we're looking at the assignments that D is working on homework 2, and we know he's not done with it yet. Okay. And when I get to, if I'm D, when I get to more questions in here from this homework, I'm going to put them on the same page. So we want one page per assignment. And what I'd like you to do is, see, this assignment is homework 02, capital markets and securities. On each page, I'd like you to put the homework with the 0, so there's always 2 digits for the numbers, homework 02, and then just enough of a description so we know what it's about. This homework is about capital markets and securities. Okay, so that's that. And now let's say it's after lunch and D is coming back to work on this some more. Um, so he comes back in, he goes to edit, and he's still in progress, so no changes here right now. And he goes back to questions, and he knows he's done question 5, and clearly question 6, what is your gain loss, is going to be another numerical one that D is going to modify. So I'm going to grab all that text. Let's see, Control C, and then I would come over here and I would start here, say with 6, and same thing. I am going to merge this bunch of cells here and Control V, and then I want to make sure that we've got this lining up at the top, left justified, and we also, I'm going to have to say wrap text, so maybe a quick way to do this would be just give it the same format as that cell up above, and here is everything. You might want to use a few more rows of cells down here to make it look better, to make it look more like this, so it's easier to read for the students. That would probably be a better idea here. So we could do something like this. Yeah, this would be probably better with something like this. Just take a whole bunch of cells. Oh, don't want to do that. And we'll just merge these, merge these, merge these. You get the idea. Merge these. And so now I'm going to have something that looks like this. So I would paste only that much in, and then I take these guys, Control C, and okay. Yeah, that didn't quite work. I'll leave it to you to find the best way to format the information that's coming in when it's a little bit complicated. But the key is you want to make it look good in the spreadsheet, and you want to have it work in some way that is easy to paste back into here after you've modified it in Excel. Okay, so then D would make this all look nice. He'd have the solution down here. Okay, let's just delete that. And so the solution would be down here. Blah, blah. There's the solution. And then you might come across, and you probably will come across, things like this. Information for the correct answer. We don't want any of that going forward, so just delete it, okay? Whoops, I just deleted what I really want to do is delete this. Let's see what happens if I make it nothing. And that's good. So now I don't have comments for that anymore. So I want to take all these comments out for all these specific comments. I don't care what's in them, just take them right out. And that's done. So we have none of these general comments showing anything, and all I want is put the solution here. Okay, I can't stress enough that formatting really matters to me. You should do all of this as if you were presenting your work, both the Canvas work and the Excel work, to a CFO of a company like IBM. And of course, if you were presenting a spreadsheet to a CFO of a company like IBM, you would want it to be very well formatted and easy to read and all that jazz. Okay, so I think that's it. That describes pretty much what I need you guys to do. So on this one, I'm going to cancel because I just made a mess of it and didn't finish it. But that would be the place to pick up with homework 2. Question 6 has not been modified yet. And D remembers his place because up here he's got problem 5 finished and question 6 clearly not finished. And I'm just going to delete all of that. Okay, so that's the story. That's what I need you to do. You should split this up amongst yourselves, this work. And I am going to say, actually, I don't need to save this time because we've already saved. So for these assignments, just split them up amongst yourselves, but please be sure to work from the beginning. Don't start working backwards because the most important thing is, of course, the beginning of the semester. Okay, very good. So let me shut this down and I'll post this on YouTube and you guys can get started.